facility or purchases of tickets. So I'm at a loss here understanding how we can say that the $30,000 can offset a $94,000 amount or a $188,000 amount. It just doesn't, it just doesn't work for the average person when they calculate the amount of people walking through there last year and the amount of dollars that could be made by an extra dollar being tacked on a ticket. And I know that there's been, stories written about the surcharge, and I know the impression that was given by the operator, and I know the position that the operator's in. I wouldn't want a surcharge either if I was operating a facility, because that would mean less money from me as an operator. And maybe, I hear things like may impact and may be a loss and may, but something that's definitely current and factual is that there is no maybes when it comes to the taxpayer. We're paying for it. And it's a facility that we've enjoyed and continue to enjoy. And I see a number of councillors that take their families there, and it's something that has benefited the community. But at the same time, I don't believe that charging an extra dollar for someone that's going to go to a Tragically Hip concert is going to be a deterrent. I just don't believe it. I understand where the operators coming from and where staff's coming from, because they're relying on the operators' discussion notes. But to tell me that I believe the last Tragically Hip ticket was in and around $68+, that by making it $69, that you're going to reduce the amount of people that are going to walk through that facility. Because I'll tell you, a lot of the people that came to that concert, I'd say 2/3 were from outside of the city of Oshawa. And that, my friends, is a way to recoup costs on a facility that's used from folks that are outside of the city of Oshawa. If it's a regional facility, it receives no regional funding, nor did it ever receive regional funding. I think when you take a look at the $3.75 amount that we currently bear within a ticket price for different fees, that's a separate issue. A surcharge of $1 or $2 multiplied by the attendance of 94,000 plus people, because I think the facility will continue to thrive. That extra dollar, I don't believe, will be a deterrent. And we're not talking about fees on generals tickets. That's a separate issue. That's something that we're not talking about, we're not touching, nor did we intend to. This is about special events. If we can charge for parking on a special event, then I believe we can do the same on a ticket that a promoter and essentially an operator are making a ton of money on off the backs of residents and taxpayers in the city of Oshawa. Because not everyone uses that facility, let's be honest. So for the average person looking at this and taking a look at the issue and applying the math, the theory that there's going to be a deterrent from someone coming to a concert on the basis of $1 when they're paying a great deal in taxes is something that doesn't weigh very much in their regard. Even weighing the issues of what the logic may be or may not be behind the charge of an extra $1 or $2. I think it's worth investigating. I've always thought it was worth investigating. I continue to think it's worth investigating. And I believe that if implemented, a $1 surcharge, I don't think our attendance would be any different. If not, I think it would probably either grow or stay the same, and I think that's probably something that we can work with. But at this point, to just refute it and say that $30,000 is all we're going to get if we put a $1 surcharge, like even Sesame Street math is pretty straightforward, and this is pretty straightforward to me. So, no offense, but I don't buy it.
Councillor Chandler?
Just a couple questions for perhaps for clarity. When read the $30,000, if I remember correctly, and maybe Mr. Dingman or Ms. Pinko can correct me, when this matter came up, it was a matter of that there's already contracts in place for shows with prices already set, and that the issue was that if a $1 surcharge was added, they could only add it to functions that were booked afterwards, and their estimate was perhaps $30,000 worth of attendance. I guess $30,000, so it looks like based on the figures we just heard of 94,000 a third of the years. Is that, am I on the right page there?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the other thing was not the dispute of whether perhaps people coming would mind paying the extra dollar, was some of the concern about whether the promoters would see that extra money of the surcharge putting their tickets out of a price range that they wanted to be in, and therefore they might look for another venue.
That's correct.
So that was the risk, I guess we would call it, looking at the lawyer across here. We always talk about risk. That was the risk of losing the events, not whether certain people might pay it or not. It's whether the vendor or the, whatever you call it, the person who, the promoter that puts on these events would accept that and come